Yesterday, when you asked the question, what does yoga mean to you? I realized that I've done yoga dance all my life, but the way I've used it when we talked, I said it was balance to me because I realize now the opposite of the other side that I've been doing. What I've been doing is I've been releasing the energy, my Kundalini energy, which I'm quite good at doing, from the lower chakra to set it up to the crown chakra, and basically through that allowing the mind to transcend. Again, it's always been about the mind, allowing the mind to transcend and leave the body while the body is performing its art. So basically complete the opposite to what now I'm learning, which is to bring the mind back into the present moment, not allow it to go somewhere else, and bring all the energy, because it's a machine. To me, that's what I believe it is. It is a machine to manifest the will. So I've been allowing it to go off, to take all the energy from the body and go off to manifest the will or desires that I want. And I've been very successful in doing that. But instead, I've discovered that through your practice and your application of the yogic way of life is to actually bring the mind back and bring back all the energy to manifest for the body, rather than the body manifesting, giving the energy over to the mind to manifest for itself. And I've discovered the balance in that, and I was really quite stunned at myself that I haven't thought about it that way. But it was a beautiful balance I found. That before I was like more on that side, and then suddenly I found myself doing it the other way, is giving back to myself rather than just always giving to my experiences, giving to my mind, transcending, going somewhere else, and then bringing the experiences over to me. Do you understand what I mean? Now, what are your point of view on what I've just said?
Of course, I agree. Because,
Yeah.
You're restating things that I feel and sense are true. The word in here is the balance.
Yeah.
With it all, because if it's we are a multidimensional being, and in the yogic model, there is a state of bliss, which is a resonance. It's a resonant harmony with the integrity of the whole self.
Right.
And that bliss doesn't arise until all the parts of the self are allowed to be what they are and do their function. And we're intending through yogic practice to set up a functional communication between these different dimensions. And it's tricky because every dimension has its own language. And you cannot understand the language of the body through a mental concept. You put yourself on the floor and you let the urges and the primal impulses of the body to start to register on your consciousness, and you start to see there's an inherent language itself that has meaning and direction and purpose all its own. So, but setting up this communication, so the physical body, the energetic prana body with intentionality, and the personality, ego, survival, cognitive intelligence person. There's the witness part of ourself, which is able through discrimination to actually generate new circumstances. Like deep looking at cause-effect relationships and being able to see the future of an effective choice now and to make a different choice and to alter a future. That's a very powerful, profound capacity we have, but it requires all the other sensitivities, to be present, to act on it. And then there's a bliss that starts to arise when you feel all the dimensions of yourself are contributing and at the party. Instead of you've left part of you at the party, to go somewhere else, and now everybody gets to come.
Yeah. In my experience, from my knowledge and studies so far, I've divided, and that's obviously mostly due to psychology and social psychology. I've noticed that there is the mind, which is a machine. I consider it a machine that is aware, that can have its own awareness, though. So it's a very intelligent machine. But it's not as powerful as, shall we say, the ego, which is the other part of the self, or the subconscious. Well, the ego is conscious as well, or the subconscious, which is the soul. I see those two as two forces always trying to manipulate this machine, because this machine is the machine that manifests the will, that manifests the desires inside the human body. And that's the extent of of how I see and through that there's many other different experiences, but it's experienced either through the conscious or the subconscious. So either through the ego part of the self, or through the higher self, which is the higher self connected to divine consciousness, connected to, rather than dividing it as a multi-dimensional self, as you said, there's not so many of I. There's I like this and I like this, but that I can also be divided into 2 or 3, and that I can be divided into 2 or 3. Do you see what I mean? Can it be seen that way, or is my vision of myself, or from what I know, is not complete? Or is it just the way that I'm describing it that could be possibly...
I think the way that you're describing it, because of the meaning you ascribe to the description, is really important for you.
Right.
If I try to apply that to myself and my understanding, it's not my experience, so I would have to, say it differently.
Right.
And in my world, I think it's simpler.
Right.
It's a lot simpler.
It's possible, though.
For one thing, it's like this. It's like the difference between, as you start to open to your whole self, a lot of people go to reincarnation. My whole self includes a soul that has a memory from past lives.
Oh yeah, I totally believe in that. Yeah.
And so, that belief system holds a whole definition about what this life is about.
Right.
Part of it is,
exactly, karmic. Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And so to me, simply, I don't need to believe or not believe in reincarnation as a belief. It doesn't really affect or impact my willingness to be present to this moment.
Right.
And what I'm capable of experiencing, awakening to, exploring right here, right now. So I don't look to the beliefs to actually define or interpret my experience in a yoga way.
Right.
What that means is that I'm open to the fact that I don't know what I don't know. And that's the place I'm most interested in. I'm not interested in creating a little place to protect what I know. I'm a lot more interested in creating a place that allows me to go to the don't know that I don't know, which is the way Warren Earhart said it.
Wow, that's just so profound what you just said. You're right. I'm trying to pattern my life in order to live within a certain belief system, but why should we live in any belief system but our own experience and our own belief system? Wouldn't that create a bit of chaos?
I don't think that we're that different. I think that as we each go into the radical particularity, it's like the Hopi Indians. Everybody's got a piece of the Sundance wheel.
Right.
And it takes all the discs of the Sundance wheel to make the whole universe. And without any of them, it's not going to be the same thing.
Right.
So you have to paradoxically discover and unfold your radical particularity to be of use to the whole.
Right. And through that, the experience grows. Thank you very much for all the time that you've given us. Thank you. Namaste.